Welcome into Power Plays presented by Bet365. I'm Tim Kalinowski, joined as always by Michael Leboff and Nick Martin. The three of us make up Line Change Action Network's hockey betting podcast. We're here to preview Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals Saturday night. Florida is a slight favorite in the series. They're a minus 135 favorite in Game 1. Total sitting at 5.5, juiced to the over. There's one series left, so basically you can catch the extended version of this over on Line Change, but we're talking Game 1, and I'll snap it to the most senior member of the group, Michael Leboff. What's the play? What's the pick? What are we betting for Game 1 here?
Yeah, I'm going to do something ahead of Game 1. It's actually a series bet that I like, but you're going to have to probably get it in before Game 1 because I like Leon Draisaitl to have a big Game 1 and a big series. So he's 6-1 to lead all players in goals in the series. I think that number looks a little long, and it is a little long because of the presence of Zach Hyman and Sam Reinhart and Connor McDavid and Matthew Tkachuk. So in most series, Draisaitl would be the second favorite behind Hyman, but right now he's drifted a bit because of the presence of other star power. So I really like Draisaitl at 6-1 to be the leading goal scorer in the Stanley Cup Final Series.
That's a sharp man. He uses the Game 1 preview as an opportunity to give a series bet because he knows that very, very well Draisaitl could be filling the net from the jump here. Nick, Game 1 here, I feel like we're going to be looking towards the total with you. We're judging by your action app.
Yeah, I mean, totals have been really good to us this playoff, and we've been kind of playing a lot of the same trends. Getting on overs early in series and getting on unders late in series has worked out really well. And that's not the main part of my handicap here, but I do think that the over 5.5 is a touch low. I think that a lot of it has to do with the way that Florida and the Oilers played in their last series and the way specifically the Oilers looked versus Dallas. But I don't think a lot of those things are going to hold true. And we have seen Game 1s be pretty wide open in the Cup final. The last 7 Game 1s have averaged 7 goals. Only one has gone under, and that one had 5 goals. So teams do seem to come out a little looser, a little less locked in. I think that that's going to particularly apply here with Florida's really heavy forecheck. I think the bottom 2 Oilers defense pairings are going to struggle to manage the puck. That's been a theme we've seen in a lot of series this playoff, where defense pairings and cores have kind of figured out heavy forechecks as series have gone along and as they got a little more locked in. I also think that the Panthers power play is going to solve this unstoppable Oilers penalty kill. That's one area of the game that I think it feels like everyone's kind of just writing off, but I still think the Panthers power play has done a lot of things really well, and I think they'll pose a new challenge that I don't know if the Stars didn't look overly sharp, and I still think on the power play in specific, really sharp puck movement wins out compared to any other part of hockey. And I also think the Oilers power play, obviously, are never going to worry about that. I wasn't even really worried about them at all when they were getting shut down by the Stars. I think it's one of those things you'll see runs like that from any team, but I don't think we'll ever see anyone over a large sample stop that unit. It's too perfectly built. So I think maybe a couple more penalties in Game 1. And then the other thing is it feels like I think both goalies are getting a little bit more credit than they deserve. The Rangers really didn't get much Bobrovsky's way at all. And Skinner was excellent in the final part of the Canucks series and in Game 6, but I still think he's a question mark relative to, some of what the Panthers have seen. So I just think there's enough arguments that this total is a little low based off kind of what we've seen. So yeah, I like that trend of Game 1s of the Cup final going high here. I think it's a good bet on this one.
Yep, and we actually got a couple more bets for you, so don't go away yet because I got to tell you that Power Plays is presented by Bet365, and Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than anyone else. Every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays, and they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boost and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only or 18 plus in Kentucky and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, and now North Carolina. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER in Colorado, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. T's and C's and restrictions apply. I'll say first, Nick, I echo the over 5.5 here in Game 1. Tried to look at the trends in terms of the layoff that we're seeing here in the Cup final, 5+ days for both teams. it came out to pretty 50-50 on that. So it wasn't much to do there. But I do agree with your sentiment about specifically the power play. Dallas, no goals in the power play against Edmonton. That series, Florida can only go up from there. So I would sign off on that. And I also don't mind a play on Leon Draisaitl anytime goal scorer in game one, kind of echoing what Leboff said. And before we get out of here, we'll just snap it around real quick. You get one bet that you like the most. Leboff, I do appreciate the 6-1 on Draisaitl, but I do want you to give what you gave in that first period over on Line Change.
Yep. Yeah, I like the first period to be 0-0, scoreless, at plus 380. This number is a lot longer than what we saw in the Panthers Rangers series as that series went on. And I do think that this game one could look a lot like that game one, actually, where the two teams are feeling one another out. The Panthers are desperately trying to avoid getting letting the Oilers get rush chances or get on the power play. And then the Oilers trying their best to kind of just cope with the beginning stage of a series against a forward-checking monster. So I think this thing takes a little while to get going. I wouldn't be shocked if we still see the over, but I do think that the first 20 will be stodgy.
Yeah, I was about to say, I still think it's very much in the cards that this could be scoreless first period and still get pushed over the total of 5.5. Third period, maybe empty netter, something along those lines. Nick, you just going to, I guess, not double down with money, but double down on your take for the game total over. You got something else?
Yeah, I definitely got to double down. That's my top ranked play. I'm not going to go through it again. I think that Evan Rodriguez to go over 1.5 shots is another good look, but definitely not seeing as much of an edge there as I am with the over.
Well done. All right. Well, I'll just throw them all together for a same game parlay here. The game to go over, first period scoreless, and a Leon Draisaitl anytime goal. That's my little fun game one Stanley Cup Saturday night for you. Make sure you check us out next week, or the rest of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Plenty of more pods for you over on Line Change. Everyone enjoy game one of the Stanley Cup Finals. For Tim Kalinowski, Michael Leboff, and Nick Martin, this is Power Plays presented by Bet365. Enjoy.